My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. Hey folks, welcome to today's episode. We're interviewing Stephen Predmore, who is a multifamily investor. He's been involved in syndications. He started off in single family homes, got into multifamily properties, started out by being a limited partner in a few deals, and has worked his way up into becoming a co-GP while he is still working his job. So that's pretty impressive. And he's looking in the future towards doing even bigger and better things. So Stephen, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate the opportunity. Looking forward to this.
All right. Well, we were talking a little bit offline that you've got a very interesting professional background. You're one of those smart brainiac kind of guys with an engineering background, which I always appreciate. A little bit jealous of you kind of guys because my brain does not work that way. Tell me how you got interested and what sparked your interest in real estate in the first place.
Just growing up, I've always been kind of a handy person. My dad was a handy person. Um, I never really thought about it too much. Actually, buying a house like that, I just enjoyed the process, DIY type stuff.
Yeah.
Working as an engineer, I actually was more on the software side of things for many years. So I'm always in spreadsheets and working on code and stuff. It wasn't until I want to say 2018 or so that I started listening to Bigger Pockets. Just found it, looking for ways to make more money in addition to my W-2.
Mhm.
And I kind of listened to that podcast or YouTube for I'm going to say 18 months before I finally pulled the trigger.
Very
Um,
analytical. That sounds like an
yes,
engineer. Yeah.
yes, and as obviously financial was a
Yeah.
big thing holding me back. I had a wife and two kids, and coming up with that first down payment is very scary. And
Mhm.
where are you going to get that kind of money when you want to be spending it on your family type stuff? So I ultimately took a loan from my 401k, an old 401k.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, my current 401k.
Yeah.
So I felt that was kind of a low risk type endeavor because I'm taking a loan from myself and I'm paying myself back slowly. Yes, the money is not working for me in the stock market, but it's working for me as a single family asset. So
Right.
that's kind of how I got started, and I'm glad I did. I don't. I've met a lot of real estate investors who've done zero deals, and I've yet to meet a real estate investor that's done just one deal. So I'm glad I did that because that's definitely led me on to multifamily and other bigger
So what
deals.
what sparked that whole switch from single family to multifamily? And had you built up from that one deal to several single family type homes before you got into multi, or how did that look?
I did. It was right during COVID. I started right at the start of COVID, and it was going great until it wasn't. And my tenant lost her employment, stopped paying. I'm in Baltimore, Maryland, a very blue state, very tenant friendly,
Hmm.
and I lost income. I tried to get that back, but it's just real challenging. And it was kind of during that time where I thought, well, I could do a third property because I'd done two in quick succession. And I just started looking, and I found some Facebook groups. I started joining other multifamily masterminds.
Hmm.
I got involved in that, and they really pushed me over the edge. Like, what are you doing in single family? It's not scalable. And but I'm glad I went through it because I needed to see the numbers to believe it.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. So I have two. I stopped at two, and now I'm into
Two
much
single
bigger
family
multi.
homes.
Yes.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about that first multifamily deal. Was that the one that you got into as a limited partner?
Yes. So part of the masterminds, we had an LP type fund where we put money we were working on. It was actually the mastermind I talked about earlier. They invested in hotel deals. Um, which was new to me. I'm not familiar with hotels up until that point. Yeah, so we put money into that, and just working as an LP, you get month or quarterly distributions from that. Um,
And
and
just for folks who might not know, Stephen, because not everybody knows the lingo, what does LP mean in the big scheme of things?
Sure, LP stands for limited partner, and it's typically a
Mhm.
person who's just putting money into the deal. On the other side of the equation is the GP, the general partner, who are finding the deal, funding the deal, taking it down, handling all those types of things.
Right.
Um, so, yeah, and I really like the LP role. Initially, I've done 5 up until this point.
Wow.
Um, but as an engineer and as a DIY type person, I really want to start getting my hands more dirty and getting involved in the weeds and analyzing. So as an LP, you're not really analyzing the deal too much. You're analyzing it
Yeah,
at a
it's
certain
more
level,
the
but
passive side of things, right? So as
right.
an LP, you're putting your money into the deal, you get
Mhm.
a fraction of the ownership, but you don't really have much say in what's going on. You're trusting the GPs or the general partners to know what they're doing and to take care of the day to day. Is that correct?
That's correct. And
Okay.
yeah, that's fine, making a return, but I wanted to do more. And I didn't want to do single family, so that's when I started looking at, hey, I want to start, within masterminds, which again, I totally am a big proponent of. You meet other people that are at the same point in their journey as you, and we've formed partnerships where we've taken down bigger deals together.
Well, so tell me a little bit about that. So you went from being a passive investor, a limited partner,
Mhm.
and more recently you become a more active investor as a co-GP in some deals. So explain what co-GP means for folks that aren't aware.
Well, that co-GP is a portion of the GP where you do particular roles. It can be capital raising, it can be asset management, it can be finding the deal, which is always the hardest part.
Hmm.
So there's certain roles, and co-GP there's a certain percentage that you get paid for doing that role. Whether if it's capital raising, then you get a certain amount of the co-GP based on how much you raise towards that deal.
Hmm.
Or if you're part of the asset management team, you get a percentage for running the asset managing, meaning that you're handling the day to day. You're dealing with the property manager. You're dealing with tenants that may be late or those types of things.
Yeah.
So
So
and
what role have you
and my
played typically in as a co-GP? What's your
capital
sweet
raising,
spot?
capital
Capital
raising.
raise. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Very cool. And how many
And
of those have you done?
just one, just
Hmm.
one. I'm mainly interested now in doing more JV type deals.
Okay.
And
So
I'm
folks that
involved.
aren't familiar with that, what
Sure.
would be the difference between a JV and a limited partnership co-GP type situation?
Well, JV is more imagine kind of working with your friends, people that you know. A JV deal, everybody has to have a role versus you can't just be a money man. You can't just be a
Hmm.
money person. You have to do something
Yeah,
on the
it's
role.
much more of a partnership, and joint JV
Yeah,
stands for joint venture
yeah. I'm sorry about that.
partnership.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
okay. And
It's much.
why does that appeal to you more?
It's much more active.
Yeah.
You're more in the weeds with dealing with. I enjoy the hunt and finding the deal and figuring out. Oh no, that's way too much money. It's more how are we going to take that down? We're going to bring in money. We're going to bring in other people that can um, provide certain amount of money or people that have experience, boots on the ground. I'm not actually looking a lot in Maryland. I'm looking a lot in other red states, and obviously I can't be there all the time. So um, I like to find people that can be part of the deal that are in those areas. I'm looking in the Carolinas. I'm looking in Texas. I'm looking in Kansas. Some
Nice.
very very red states, which have a lot of pluses. So that's what appeals to me about the JV is appeal as opposed to if you're co-GP, potentially you are investing in the deal, but I wouldn't say maybe you don't have as much vested interest in it
Hmm.
because typically there's lots of I would say there's several co-GPs kind of working on it together.
Mhm.
So anyway, there's just more interest and there's more ownership, and I kind of like that.
Would you say there's a difference in the size of the projects, the properties that you're looking at to do through a joint venture versus a GP type situation?
There can be, and there usually is.
Mhm.
I'm involved in a 12 unit that's an LP syndication type thing. But I'm also I have typically a syndication is going to be a much bigger deal, like well over $1 million price tag. Um, so yes. And you got to think about the legal expenses with just setting up a syndication with the LPGP. There's a certain amount of legal fees just producing the documents and lawyer fees. So
Yeah.
that's
So what
that.
what I'm hearing you say, Stephen, is you like the idea of doing a joint venture because you've got more direct control
Mhm.
over A, what you're doing, B, the asset that you're looking at, C, the day to day. You're much more involved in everything as a partner on a smaller deal. Plus, I would imagine you're going to have a much larger ownership. It's a smaller asset, but you get a much larger piece of the pie. Would that be fair to say?
That's correct. And you take the good with the bad. But at this point in my career, again, I work a full-time W-2 job, so um, that's kind of what I'm looking at. I mean, I'm looking at kind of actually it's like 5 to 20 unit type size deals that are kind of more, say, ripe for JV versus a syndication.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, that's just where I'm at in my journey.
Yeah.
10,
There's nothing
20
wrong
years
with
from
that.
now, I may just, dial it back and just, do more of the LP type investing. It's just a personality type thing. I'm married to a high net worth person who uh, is interested in real estate, but does not want to deal with spreadsheets and that type of stuff and calling brokers and Texas and that type of stuff that I enjoy. I like the hunt again. So she's happy with just doing the LP role and getting her
Well,
return.
that sounds like you got a built-in partnership there, my friend. That's pretty sweet. Now, so if it's that kind of joint venture, you're looking at basically just one partner and yourself, or you're looking at bringing in other joint venture partners as well?
Um, so again, I'm new to this. We have one JV deal that we have in Anchorage, Alaska right now. It's a 30 unit. Um, it's right outside two military bases, and I think there's 15 people involved in the deal, 15
Wow,
JV
that's a
partners.
big JV. Yeah,
It is, it
yeah,
is, and it's part of a mastermind group, and it's kind of like I want to say JV with training wheels, where a lot of people are learning
yeah.
and trying to get more of that type of experience under their belt. Um, but on the other side, I'm also looking at potentially doing some JV deals with just one or two people. So
Mm.
so it's kind of both. Um, there's lots of opportunities. Again, I highly recommend joining a mastermind because there's more opportunities than I could possibly take down or just to being involved with. So that's just a great thing because I'm not I don't have those types of broker connections. There's a lot of folks that are working full time that do this all the time that have plenty of deals. So
So
it's nice
what
to be able to
what
tap in that network.
what do you like to do the most in these kind of situations, either as a co-GP or as a joint venture partner? Like if you could wave the magic wand, what would your responsibilities be? What do you enjoy doing the most?
That's a great question. Um,
Is
like
it the
currently,
underwriting, the deal analysis, finding it, managing it? What?
definitely not managing it.
Yeah.
I don't like dealing with tenants. I'm an engineer. I want to hand that off to somebody else. Again, I guess finding the deal, taking it down, figuring out the numbers, and figuring out how we're gonna pay for it, and what the splits are going to be, and
Yeah, the
working on hiring,
analysis.
yeah, working on finding a property manager. But the day to day and dealing with tenants and that type of stuff. So I guess more the front end of the deal.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned earlier that you, in some of these other deals that you've been part of as a co-GP, you were responsible for raising capital for those deals. Do you mind
Mhm.
sharing with us what worked well for you? Because a lot of our followers and listeners are kind of in that boat. They're looking to raise private capital. What did you do and
Um,
what worked well for you?
so it was on 506c deals that we could post on social media, meaning that it's only for accredited investors.
Yeah.
There's also 506b deals, which are for both accredited and non-accredited. Um, so I was able to, you know, some training that I received through masterminds is what they call attraction marketing
Hmm.
and posting about different types of deals, not just specifically that deal, but just real estate in general and the LPGP, different types of
So
returns that you can get,
educational
educating,
type posts. Yeah.
and having a way for people to reach out to you, which is amazing actually. People would contact me, and I would set up a call, and we would talk, and that type of thing. So that was mainly how I did it, is through attraction marketing through social media.
Very cool. Very cool.
Hmm.
And did you raise capital for one deal or more than one deal, Stephen?
Just one deal.
Just one deal. All right. Very
Hmm.
good. And what did you think about that whole experience? Did you enjoy that, the raising capital side of things, or not so much?
Not so much. Not so
Yeah.
much. Um, Again, it's probably limiting self-belief. Just I had never done it before. That's why it's helpful, I think, for new people to be an LP first, to
Mm,
kind of experience what it is on the other side. The minute you're going to be asking people for money, it's nice to be able to say, well, when I did it, this happened.
mhm.
Um, so that was, and you got to make sure you have experienced operators on your GP team. Make sure that they can perform. Um, because that's the last thing that you want to do is bring somebody on board and then have them lose
Yeah.
their money. God forbid.
Have
I mean
have the
that.
deal fizzle out on them. Yeah, that's no good. Awesome. So, Stephen, as we're kind of wrapping up the interview here, what are your plans? Where do you see things going in your real estate investing journey moving ahead?
Um, I want to take down some other medium-sized deals. To start doing those. Hopefully graduate to do this full time. I enjoy my engineering job, but I could see a time where I do this full time. Um, Training other folks in the process. I have a son that's very, he just finished college, and he's kind of wondering um, what his next step is,
Yeah.
and just kind of teaching him that, like, real estate can be like a slow journey. If you start buying properties now, you're 22 years old, the world's your oyster. You can really you know retire early. The whole fire movement. I hope he learns that from some of the stuff that I'm doing.
Nice.
That's kind of it. I don't want to own, thousands of units. I'm not that type of person. Um, but just kind of enjoy real estate in addition to my W-2 until, I'm sick of my W-2 and I would just walk away.
Oh, that is fantastic, Stephen. Um, yeah, and as we're kind of wrapping up here, so any big lessons or aha moments that they kind of come to mind with your transition from single family homes to multifamily?
It's definitely scalability. I mean, that's hands down the best thing. I kind of want to talk a little bit about how I used my self-directed IRA. It was a kind of a big part of my growing process,
Yeah.
because I really didn't have the down payment type stuff that I would have needed to do this. So again, I took a loan against myself. I bet on myself. I took it out of the stock market, and I took a loan against it, so there was no penalties. Um, I'm paying my back slowly into that. I just highly recommend that if people want to that's a great way to get involved, is that if you have an old job, you can roll that money over to a self-directed IRA. And there's lots of ways you don't have to specifically buy single families. You could be an LP. I've also started doing hard money lending to a couple folks in one of my masterminds. So that's just another way that you can use your money. And just kind of get your mind thinking about, there's lots of ways that I could self-direct this into different types of non-traditional assets.
Plus, it gives
That
you something to
that's
talk about on social media to teach other
yeah,
people how they
yeah.
can come up with the capital to invest in real estate
Because
as
that's
well.
the biggest thing is that when you talk to
Yeah.
somebody, "Well, I don't have the money. I don't have the money." Well, you're usually sitting on money that you don't really even realize that you can tap into. If it's an older job, that you can roll
Yeah.
it over into a self-directed IRA.
Fantastic. Awesome, Stephen. Well, this has been great. And if people would like to find out more and reach out to you, what's the number one way they can do that?
Sure, I have a real estate focused website. It's called talbotinvestments.com, and I can read about different ways to invest as in some deals that we are looking at. Has some educationals, free download there if you want to check it out. You can connect with me there, or also LinkedIn as well. But talbotinvestments.com is number one place to go.
Perfect. Well, Stephen, congratulations on what you've done. Keep on chugging along, and I'm sure one of these days you're going to get sick of that W-2 and just focus on the real estate full time.
Thanks, Dave. I had a great time. Thanks for setting this up.
All right, everybody, take care. We'll talk to you on the next episode. Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.